what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. It was reported yesterday that Lance Hurd did not travel with the LSU Tiger football team to the ReliaQuest Bowl. Damn it. When you hear this, and then you learn that it's not injury related, you can only assume that you will be hearing his name in the transfer portal soon. Well, you know, that's still up in the air. Maybe, right? We'll see what ends up happening. But obviously things seem to be trending that direction. Now, I did some digging. And by that, I, like an umpire, I just brushed the plate off a little bit, right? And what I would say is that I have heard, again, classic grain of salt thing here, but I have heard there is some disagreement between LSU and maybe Hurd's camp about how much Lance Hurd should be earning. And this sucks on many fronts, mainly because I was just super excited to see him play tackle. He was awesome when we did get, like, he was raw. He needed work. He did not need to be a part of the starting five, but his potential is that where it's as much potential as a Will Campbell or an Emory Jones, maybe potentially even higher. I don't know, right? Because I don't really know the intangibles of Lance Hurd, but just from like a purely physical standpoint, the dude is a bit of a unicorn. He looked incredible in 53. And while it's not a done deal, right? Like, you know, these things, look at Sage Ryan, right? These things play out in interesting ways. I do think probably today, December 28, 2023, it feels more likely than not that Lance Hurd will be in a different uniform come next season.
That's a player that we were really excited about, not only because he looked great in 53, but because of who he could be. And we saw flashes of that even in this season, Mississippi State game and other times he was out there with the ones, and he was somebody that you could be, you know, kind of choosy with who you put where, because he gave you some value at tackle, and you could maybe move Emory Jones around to maybe a little bit of a more natural spot at guard, although he's been great at tackle, and you were going to have one of, if not the best offensive line in the country next year. Now, you still can have one of those units because of who you have coming back, but he was going to be somebody that you felt like was going to be a bookend, maybe two best tackle type situation, have the interior shored up as well, and then you had maybe a higher ceiling guy, like you said yesterday, Chester there at center. So, I mean, it was one of the, on paper, it's going to be one of the best units in the country. Again, it can still firmly be there in that top five, but this is a player that's going to be really, really good. And this is a player that showed flashes already as a young, true freshman. And so, again, it's not completely done, but when you don't travel, you hear the whispers of maybe, you know, what he's out there looking for. And I guess it's not 1,000% guaranteed that he would just take over at right tackle either.
No, yeah, definitely not. I think So Jim Selmer in the chat says, was tampering involved with Hurd? That's an interesting question, because what is tampering, right? If I have an agent, my agent is supposed to be actively trying to make me the most money possible, correct? So if my agent is out there fielding calls from other college football powers and saying, hey, here's what my guy's making here, and what would you be willing to pay him? Is that tampering? Or is that my agent doing his job? Because I'm sure that's what the Hurd camp is doing, right? And again, if I'm going to pay my agent 10%, that's what I want him to be doing, is to try to make me as much money as possible. So I guess what I'm getting at is tampering involved is kind of a it's a non-starter. It's pointless to lose sleep over, because of like everything is tampering. Everybody's constantly tampering with one another's roster. Everybody. I mean, there's been great athletic articles written about how coaches now have entire departments dedicated to kind of maintaining relationships with high school recruits. But beyond that, like talking to when they know they have a blue chipper out of high school they recruited hard, they lost out on. Then they watch him go to this other school, and he's not playing. They'll sit there and they'll be talking to like his high school football coach, his family, and be like, "Hey man, is he happy? If he's unhappy, we got a spot." Like, so it never ends. The tampering, the recruitment never ends nowadays, and that's LSU. That's everybody. That's not. Don't think you're just getting poached and you're not doing it to others as well. So tampering doesn't come into play here. What sucks about this is it's not just bad for LSU, but and look, I think Lance Hurt's probably going to be awesome no matter where he goes. But like Brad Davis is one of the good ones. Brad Davis is one of the best offensive line coaches in the entire country, and I think he's proven that over the last couple of years. I mean, he's taken O-lines that didn't have a lot of talent and elevated them while he's been at LSU, and then he's taken this O-line with massive amount of talent, and he has really developed these bookend tackles. He made Charles Turner into a spectacular player. Who would have ever fathomed Charles Turner when he got an invite to the Senior Bowl?
No.
A couple of years ago. Nobody.
I mean, he was playing tight end.
He wasn't even starting last year. They tried to not start him after, and they remember he had the cryptic tweet after Florida State about something like the film don't lie or everything comes out in the end, and then sure enough, they bump back over Dellinger, move him back into that starting role. So Brad Davis would have really gotten the most out of Lance Hurd, and maybe he gets that elsewhere. But it sucks for both parties. But look, man, this is this is college football. Nowadays, the Pirtle and everything giveth, and the Pirtle taketh away. And when it taketh away, it hurts. But
wasn't it Penn State where I think it was James Franklin and their AD, Pat Kraft, who got emailed about a player, and it was an agent asking if they were interested, and it was actually a current Penn State player.
Wait, what?
Yeah. There's a story where James Franklin and the AD at Penn State got emailed about a transfer interest, and I don't know if the agent screwed up, but he emailed.
Oh, like he let Penn State know that he was out there actively shopping a player on their roster by accidentally including Penn State on the email.
Yes, into
wow,
the email.
Awkward.
And it was like in the email's like, "Hey, are you interested?" Like interested, like he's on our team.
So he basically like texted the group chat about a member of the group chat instead of getting into some side group. Ooh, ooh. Always awkward.
That's why group chats are dangerous.
Yeah, this happened like last week. It was James Franklin and Pat Kraft. They both got emailed about transfer interest in a current Penn State player. It was an agent supporting. It was an agent supporting offensive tackle Olu Fashanu at the National Football Foundation.
Oh wait, Fashanu's a beast.
Yes.
That's their like NFL like first round.
I think they were like with him at the award show.
That's right. That's right. You're right. Sorry. That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah,
I don't understand this.
Yeah. The message listed the names of 8 different players, one being an undisclosed Nittany Lion who hadn't entered the transfer portal, and the agent said, "Hey, are you interested?"
Matt C says some of these dudes got people in their ear that have no business talking to them about the money they make. I agree that there's probably a lot of poor representation, but it goes back to exactly what we discussed yesterday, which is that all of this Wild West gold rush 1849 madness is a direct result of holding on to the broken system that is the NCAA. When it is finally shattered and things are built from the ground up, it's going to be better for the players in some ways, it's going to be worse in some ways, but that's when you'll get to things like a collective bargain agreement where agents will have to be approved the same way the NFL agents have to be approved by the NFL in order to work with clients. Like they'll have a standard rate of like 3% or whatever it is. So,
I mean, baseball's had, the air quotes advisors for a long time, and it's been agents.
Oh, they have that. Okay. That makes sense. I hadn't thought about that.
It is funny. Like, even within the NCAA, there was different sets of rules for so long.
Yeah.
These 4 sports you could transfer and be eligible immediately. These 4 sports you had to sit out a year or you had to go to a lower level. Like, that's another thing that the NCAA just sucks at. Like, they don't have the same set of rules for every sport. It's like, okay, you can have advisors, but football, we're going to sit you down twice every single training camp and make you sit here for 2 hours and tell you how bad agents are. Okay? Yeah. And if you see an agent, right, you got to run the other way.
Yeah.
And don't you dare step foot in Las Vegas. That's a city of sin. like that was like the 2 things that they always told us. And like, it's like, wait a minute, this sport can have it, but you're telling us if we even like dap one up passing by, then we're going to be suspended.
Hell yeah. And now we're opening up in Vegas. It's right, boys. We're slowly but surely becoming the island from Pinocchio. And guess what? I always liked the island from Pinocchio. Turn me into a donkey. let me smoke my gars and let's ride. Let's shoot some pool, boys. So it sucks. It sucks if you lose Lance Hurd, but it is what it is, man. You just got to keep moving. It's college football now.
What's the island in Pinocchio?
Remember, I can't remember the name of it, and I haven't seen Pinocchio in decades, but I remember it kind of freaked me out as a kid. Remember, Pinocchio goes to the island, and it's all the misbehaving boys. They're like smoking cigars, like shooting pool, like
Pleasure Island.
Yeah. Oh, hey now, Pleasure Island. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Send me to Treasure Island next fall. Go win some money at the craps table. I don't know what we're talking about anymore. The point is, Lance Hurd probably. It looks like today. You know, these stories have a way of breaking in many different ways, but it looks like today probably not going back with LSU. We will see. Very disappointing news, but it is what it is. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.